Hello, everyone, and welcome to what I think is going to be a really interesting episode because I have a really interesting guest. Her name is Helen Paas, and we're going to be talking about training, and that's what this show is all about. But before we do, on behalf of the Learning Network, I want to thank you, the audience, for being here. I also want to thank our sponsors, C-Suite TV, C-Suite Radio. Helen and I have had some warm-up conversations, and Helen comes from a very unique background and lots of experience in training. And Helen, what are the things that you see in training that are going really well and the areas that maybe we could work on as an industry to be better at? Where are what's working, what's not working in training?
I think what is working right now is everybody has a very good structure. So I think that the structures are like most of the trainings that I've been to myself, and I've bought in for my company. They all have a very good structure, and the trainers are mostly very well trained themselves. So I think this part where we are actually in a very good place. But where we are lacking is we are lacking in the innovation and going with the innovation, and especially in a way that how people's brains are developing. And from this side, I think we are behind in training. Like, we're not incorporating too much of how people are built, how they are actually receiving information and putting into the best use.
So what I'm hearing you say is that we're fundamentally good at building standard, quote unquote, traditional style training. What we aren't doing is keeping up with the changing in the generations, the population, and the technology.
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
I think that it's easy and convenient to ride the same bicycle. It's as simple as that.
I love that. We're used to it.
Yes.
Okay.
It's just our this comfort zone. It's a comfort zone.
So how do we break out of it? What advice do you give when you're talking to some of your clients that this is what you see?
So first of all, I will go in and I will talk to people. And one of the important things for the trainers, this is actually a hot tip, don't speak to only HR and people who are responsible for the training. This is the first mistake that you can make, that you will talk only with the bosses and only with the HR people who are responsible. Talk with those people who you are going to train with. At least take like 2 people, like with one-on-one, and then you will start understanding. Like, first of all, of course, trainings have to be very specific. They have to be targeted. They cannot be, well, some of the topics, yes, they can be very open as well, but mostly I think that the trainings need to be very specific, and how to do that is that you have to interview a lot of people in order to get there, to actually know what is wrong, that what are you going to do there.
So what I'm hearing you say is they've got to bring in the learner into the process.
Yes.
Yeah, which makes sense. Mm-hmm. How do companies deal with the different kinds of learners? So you have people in the company that are Gen Z, and there's still a few baby boomers around. Mm-hmm. And we know that, Gen Z learning style, very different than a baby boomer's learning style. Mm-hmm. How do you cover the spectrum of learners?
So I use a system that is actually built in 1970s. And it's called Format, and it's built for children, basically. So it was actually built for children in schools. Like, how can you make any type of learner get the information? So everybody has this affinity, some people learn by reading, some by through the experience, some people listening, writing. So, and all training programs, they have to go through the whole circle to make sure that everyone gets their part. Everybody learns in every way, but they have some affinity. But when you go through the whole circle, then you can be sure that everybody gets something, or what they need to get. So this is basically what I do. Is the training programs are not standard for everyone, because one shoe doesn't fit everyone. It has to be a little bit different. You have to have everything there. It has to be very interactive is really, it's not really that word, but yeah. It has to have a lot of different parts. Yeah, that's a good way of saying that.
So let's talk
If
about
you
something.
if you want an example, then I have made
Please.
grown-up people draw a picture of the information that they got. And it's weird, and in corporate setting, you have like, how to say, middle-aged people drawing pictures with pencils and stuff. And if you hear the feedback, they said like it was very transformative. It was very different, and I really remembered this topic.
Now, you might find this hard to believe, Helen, but I've done exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
I have an exercise where I have people draw pictures of different settings of formative things that have happened in their lives. And it's a great way for people to share their experiences and get to know each other, but also to understand what are those things, like particularly if it's your business history, what are the aha moments in your business history? People, some people draw better than others. I'm a terrible drawer, but I still have fun doing the exercise. People learn a lot from themselves, and then they learn a lot by listening to other people. So,
Exactly.
I love experiential training, game playing, things of that nature. How would you take this idea and bring it into the electronic world, like e-learning and things of that nature?
Well, e-learning, making it fun and playful, it's super easy. There's like, you don't even have to think a lot, because there's AI now that can help you do basically all of the work for you. You can just ask the AI, what is the best game to play for this kind of learning experience, and they will give you already the answers. So this is, you just have to know how to ask those questions, and you have to be a training professional as well. I read a book, I think it was, I don't remember when it was released, 88 or 1988 or something like that, games that trainers play. So there's actually a book, and I ordered it from the US, and I remember like reading it during the night, like, wow, these are super cool exercises that I can do, and games. And this is very easy to game, but right now, I think to do good e-learning, this is super easy. This is like, you have everything, you have all the information in the internet. You don't even have to think. At least that's what I see.
So going to your point, e-learning started out with being a PowerPoint with a speak over.
Yes.
And got terrible reputation for it.
Yeah.
And then I noticed a trend where people are trying to mimic live learning by starting out with, this is what I'm going to tell you, exercise, this is what I told you. So there is a tendency in adult learning that repetition is important, that people learn more when they do. But I think the speed that people desire to learn at, because of the speed in which they receive information today, is so much faster that it's almost better to be, this is the information, this is the information, now use it. Here's a little more information, now use it again. Here's a little more information, now use it again. rather than this is what you're going to learn, this is what it is, use it, this is what you learned. Does this, what am I saying, making sense? Or
So let me reflect. So you mean that e-learning, there's different ways of doing e-learning, of course, and you mean that there's like this it's built for like e-learning built on
what I'm saying
repetition.
is that the people, when e-learning was first developed, when people started
Mm-hmm.
doing e-learning, it was PowerPoint,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
now it's not PowerPoint. It's much better than PowerPoint.
Yeah.
But the people that are creating it are the same people that used to create live training,
Yes.
leader-led training.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, they're following sort of the principles of leader-led training, which is tell them what you're going to tell them, and then the simple portion is tell them what you told them.
Yes. Yeah. I now I understand.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a big problem. That's exactly what I said in the beginning. The biggest problem that we have in our training world right now is with the trainers being they are still in their comfort zones. They are not evolving, and this is all like, and this is a problem because there are like so many different. You could use producers, you could use animations. I remember, for example, we had to do this uh, know your customer training, and this is about compliance and those rules, and this is non-negotiable. You have to know those rules. You have to, because if you do a mistake there, either you're gonna go to jail or the company will get sued. So
Yes.
these are and but we did at first we have trainer-led trainings, but then we started to have a very cool animation for it, like what is good, what is bad. It was super simple, but it said everything that needs to be done, and everybody will remember that. So this is the document cabinet, and this has to be always locked because I get sued after. Like I can get, in reality, I could get like prosecution for that
Sure.
if I like leave it unlocked or leave the documents unlocked. So it was very clearly done, and it was really easy, and it was only, I think it took like 10 minutes or something, 8 to 10 minutes. So this is the way you have to be very, like, you have to be very open-minded uh, with trainings, especially e-trainings. It's very easy to do a super boring e-training that no one wants to do. It's very easy to do that, but to make it a really good one, this is where you really have to think, and you have to engage artsy people to help you.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I'm going to ask you a question I've never asked anybody on the show. What training have you developed that you're most proud of? And tell us about it. What was the problem? How did you solve it? And why are you so proud of it?
So when I joined TransferWise, it was TransferWise back then. It wasn't Wise. Now it's Wise. Um, I was among the first 100 people, and our customer support was only 30 people strong, and we grew very fast, and and then we needed a training coordinator, so I became the training coordinator, and what I'm proud of the most is I started with 50 people, and I built a training program and strategies that were still good for 600 and 1,000 people. So I built 4 different training programs during my 6 years in there, and the last one was so good that uh, it was working to so large group of people, and other teams were also asking, like, how do you train those people like that? And why am I so proud of it is because people said, like, so training a customer support agent is usually like 2 months, and I was like, but why 2 months? Why cannot it be 1 month? And everybody was like, well, I don't know, nobody has done this before. And I was like, well, let's try it.
Yeah.
And it was, and I could bring it down, that I could bring people up to speed in a financial institution with a month. They were definitely like tier one level, but tier one, like we didn't have different tiers. We had, but after the first month, they were really, really good already. They just needed more information. But this was just, it only took a month to get them there, and it was a financial institution. So I was really proud of those people, and also this, because the training program was so intense, that also people who weren't really built for the job, they also dropped very fast through the ranks, which was also very good.
Hey there, listeners. Time to take your training to the next level. The Learning Network has come out with Breeze, which is an online authoring tool. This is, like its name, a breeze. It is so easy to create engaging content your learners are going to love. But more importantly, you'll create content that will truly be memorable and truly retained by your listeners. Go to learning.net, schedule a demo, and check out Breeze. That's an interesting, tell me more about the dropping through the ranks.
Yes.
How did that
So,
sort of naturally happen or not naturally happen?
well, it wasn't really natural to, yeah. So basically, what it was very difficult at first, because we had we hired, I think it was 2 groups a month. It was 30 to 60 people to customer support during 1 month all over the world. So it was very high intensity hiring. And of course, usually when you hire in that level, then usually 10% of people are not suitable for this role, usually. And
Yeah.
this was actually the case. So I brought it down to, I think, 8%, I think. Like 8% of people dropped out. But it was also that
So did they drop
people
out selectively or were they asked out?
asked out. Some also left, but most of the time it was me who was actually. I really like this saying that I released potential. I released their potential to do something that was actually what they were actually good at. I review.
It
I
sounds like the
review.
Navy SEALs of training,
Yes,
which is cool.
it is. It's
I
like,
I sit back and I use the word Navy SEALs like everyone knows what the Navy SEAls are.
oh yes.
And I'm gonna in a moment ask you to share with everyone where you're based out of and what country you're in, because you're incredibly articulate. And I think people will be a little surprised. But anyhow, for the people that don't
Yeah.
know, in the United States, our elite military on the Navy side or Marine side are Navy SEALs, and they go through an intense training. And I think something like 80% of the people that start the training don't complete the training. They're either asked off or they ring a bell and they go and ring the bell and give up. And apparently this is folklore. I have no idea if this is true, but the last thing is they just swam like 10 miles and current, and they're on the beach, and they're totally exhausted from this. And the guy says, okay, in 15 minutes, we're going to do it again. And for those that don't want to do it, the bell's there. And like a few people go ring the bell because they just can't do another 10 miles. And then after that, they announce that the training's over and no one has to actually swim the extra 10 miles. But the people that gave up, they're not Navy SEALs, which seems a little heartbroken. So Helen, tell us about where you're located and your a little bit about your background in training.
So I'm located in Tallinn, Estonia, and for the last 10 years, I have uh, the biggest experience in startup world, how to build startup training. But before that, I also worked in other companies as well in Estonia. I actually started working when I was 14, it's classic in here. It's fine. And I've been working with customers for 20 years, and I'm how old am I? 36. So I'm 36, but I've already worked with customers for more than 20 years. And being in training, I was like, I think 15 years. Yes, 15, definitely over 15 years.
And do you work with clients in Europe and in the US?
Yes. Whoever needs my help and guidance, and I will help them. It doesn't matter, because we might think that it does matter, like either you're in US or you're in Europe. Actually, it doesn't matter. I have worked in US in Florida, and the only thing that is different is people's mindsets, that this cannot be done, or this can be done, or legal differences, what you can do and what you cannot do. In US, there are a lot of more legal things that you cannot do in training, because legal reasons. You have to know these things.
Sure.
In Europe, there is less of these things, but also the hiring and firing is very different in Europe and in US. So, and my last experience was that I have been a training coordinator for a long time, so I was responsible for, I think it was 700 customer support agents and leads. It was like 40 leads, I guess I had. And then also the compliance training coordinator was also for me to lead.
You'll actually not just consult with people, but you'll actually take roles and actually create training and do training.
Yes, I'm this kind of a person that you don't have to hire. I'm this outsourced angel that you can pull in and ask me to help out. So yeah. I'm not hireable. I'm sorry, but I'm outsourceable.
You're outsourceable. I like that.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the company you work for.
TransferWise, you mean Wise? Yeah. So Wise was a company that started around 12 years ago, and when I joined, I was 100th. This working contract was number 99. So like all over the world were only 99 people, and today, 10 years later, they have 5,000 people. So wow. Within 10 years, they have grown 5,000 people. And when I left 4 years ago, they had 2,000 people. And so in 4 years, they have grown 3,000. So it's very, 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 very big. And they're a startup unicorn. And what they do is they build better ways of exchanging money. Basically, banks are ripping everybody off with their high exchange rates. And so Wise is a very good way of, if you need to move money between US and Europe, for example, this is a place to go. And they also have very nice cards that if you want to travel, for example, like when I travel, I only use Wise. Even if I don't work there, I'm their biggest fan. I'm really their biggest fan, because they're really, really good, and they're improving all the time, and they're making it better. So yeah, I could go all day. Okay. Yeah, Wise. So this was the company I worked, and it was a great thing for me.
So you have an offer for the audience in terms of people who want to reach out to you and get some free consulting.
Yes.
Before you tell them, yeah, I'm going to promote your free consulting. Mm-hmm. Helen is a gift of feedback. Because when we started the show, before we started recording the show, we were in the pre-show, I asked her about what she thought about the show. This is a question that I asked virtually every one of my guests. And every one of my guests is nice enough to say, "Oh, I love your show. You're such a great blah, 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 blah," which, feels great and sincere, but Helen goes, not so much. Maybe not quite those harsh terms, but she said you use jargon too much, and she gave me great ideas and great tips to make the show better. And I really sincerely appreciate people that are willing to be honest with you because honesty is the greatest gift that in the world. And most people prefer to be pleasant than honest. Now, I will call Helen honestly pleasant or pleasantly honest. But tell us about your offer and how to reach you for the offer.
So we have, we're actually working as a team with another Helen. So we are H2 Resolve. So you can find us at h2resolve.com. And you can always, there is this Calendly link where you can book a free half an hour consultancy. Yes, sorry, I'm already getting like tongue tied a little bit. But if you write, so the first 5 who will write to us and say like, I've heard Evan Hackel's podcast, so I would like to get this offer. So if you're booking that link and you say that, you will get an hour, and I will contact you specifically and give you an hour of my time. What I want before is that what is the problem that priorly, that what is the problem that we're gonna discuss, so I can already do the pre-work. So you will get basically more than an hour. You will get my thoughts. So this is my offer for everyone.
It's an extremely generous offer. And your website is h2thewordresolve.com. So
Yes.
just want to make sure people get that. So one more time, because most people listen to the show, h2resolve.com. Now, Helen, I know you reserved it for the first 5, but I'm going to point out something that you don't know. Most of my listeners don't necessarily know.
Yeah.
We actually have a huge number of episodes that are listened to well over a year or 2 after they're recorded. Mm-hmm. And this is a tip for my listeners. If you go to trainingunleashed.net and you scroll down, you can see the topics and see, it's literally an encyclopedia of knowledge around training and different people. So, you may 3 years from now get somebody saying, "Am I still in the top 5?" But we'll see. So Helen, we always end the show with our guests sharing one tip, the one tip they think is the most important thing that they could share with the audience.
One important tip. It's very difficult because it's the world of training, but I think it's keep on going, keep yourself on top of the changes in the world and in humans and also in psychology. This is like for the trainers, what has helped me the most is I went to Introduction to Psychology in Toronto University, and this really opened my mind. How the brain works, how can you make people understand it, like understand more, and also psychology in how can you make your learners accept what you're telling them.
So I love the tip, tease the tip. If you want to know how to do that, go and be one of the first 5 people to sign up for the free consulting.
Yes, and also under H2 Resolve, we also have free resources, because when you give us a genuine a question that is very general, then usually we can make it as a blog post and we can share it with everyone. So we are firm believers in H2 that knowledge is for free, implementation is that's what should cost.
Well, Helen, I want to thank you for being a guest. I want to thank our listeners on behalf of the Learning Network. We really appreciate you. Thank our sponsors, C-Suite TV and C-Suite Radio, and remind everyone we're on YouTube. We are Training Unleashed Network, and don't forget to subscribe when you're on YouTube. Everyone have a fantastic day.